All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at what happened in Kansas City, Missouri. A 16-year-old by the name of Ralph Yarl was shot twice when he went to the wrong house trying to pick up his two younger siblings. Now, I want to preface this video by saying, obviously, it's a tragedy that this young man was shot 2 times, but he managed to survive. It's a blessing. He's alive. He's been released from the hospital, and his family is taking care of him. So, you know, thank God, that's a blessing that he's still here, that he's still alive. I think at the moment his GoFundMe page has already surpassed $3 million. So, you know, from that alone, you could tell how much support this story is getting, how much support this young man is getting, and just how, you know, mainstream this story is becoming. And in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. If people want to give their money to him and his family, by all means, you know, they're able to do that, and they have been doing just that. But it's issues and it's details and it's things surrounding this story and, you know, other things going on in America at the moment that we aren't so vocal and we aren't talking about and we aren't outraged about, that I have to bring up in, you know, in doing this video. Obviously, the reason why this story has hit the media running so hard is because of the racial implications behind it. It fits the narrative perfectly. An 86-year-old white man shoots a 16-year-old black boy for, you know, ringing the wrong doorbell and, you know, being black. But me personally, because I like to wait and see details and have more facts come out around stories, I choose not to be outraged when I see things like this. You know, obviously it's a tragedy. I could give my condolences while I also sit back and wait before I make assumptions about the story. But with that being said, we're about to take a look at this news coverage. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we're watching. Now let's roll it.
And the calls for justice in this case have stretched far and wide.
But none bigger than from those who live right here in the metro. News of 16-year-old Ralph Yarl being released from the hospital and now charges filed. Signs of hope for many who had so many questions. In search of answers, continue our coverage. Fox 4's Malik Jackson live at Staley High School, where Ralph attends school. Malik, the reaction still pouring in.
Yeah, that reaction is pouring in, but I can tell you from the people that I've spoken to, they're hopeful and optimistic. Hopeful because the recovery for Ralph Yarl, who was released from the hospital today, and optimistic because the thing that they've been asking for, demanding answers, demanding accountability, well, they're one step closer after the charges were announced today against Andrew Lester.
Justice for Ralph!
This crowd of hundreds just one day ago called for answers, and less than 24 hours later, they are one step closer to that. Today, the Clay County Prosecutor's Office received the case for review and has charged the homeowner with 2 felony counts. As people from coast to coast weigh in, from Vice President Kamala Harris to celebrities from Halle Berry to Justin Timberlake, and right here in Kansas City with Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, all demanding answers.
Hopefully the justice system does right by him and everyone involved, and we're able to not have to have these conversations, and we were able to hold each other accountable for our actions.
While this community tries to process this tragedy,
I don't think I can wrap my head around it, honestly. I think we're struggling.
The Yarl family has gotten what they were asking for.
I have a message for the prosecutor. We want charges. That's what we want.
And speaking of that reaction pouring in, Kansas City's Mayor Quentin Lucas is weighing in, saying, I am relieved to see the first step towards justice for Ralph Yarl with today's felony charges. Now we must remain engaged through trial. Here at Staley, the students are planning a walkout for some time this week, and the expectation is tomorrow in a news conference we'll hear from the family of Ralph Yarl and the attorneys representing them.
84-year-old Andrew Lester faces the possibility of life in prison, charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action for shooting 16-year-old Ralph Yarl in the head and arm after Yarl, hoping to pick up his younger brothers Thursday, accidentally went to the wrong home.
Ralph says that he was shot through the screen door at point-blank range, and when he went to the ground, he was shot a second time.
Meanwhile, new details on the homeowner's possible defense. Per a probable cause statement, Andrew Lester telling detectives he was in bed Thursday night when he heard his doorbell ring, adding he picked up his gun and saw a black male approximately 6 feet tall pulling on his exterior storm door handle. Lester noting he believed someone was attempting to break in and shot twice, adding he was scared to death, and the two exchanged no words. NBC News has made multiple attempts to reach out to Lester, but so far has been unsuccessful. Ralph's family says he only rang the doorbell and never tried to break in. The family's attorney says that Andrew Lester told Ralph, "Don't come around here," before shooting him. The family says Ralph, wounded, ran for his life. Meanwhile, more than 1,500 of his high school classmates rallying around Ralph today, wearing blue, his favorite color, and willing his recovery along.
So what we do know is Ralph Yarl, the 16-year-old, went to the wrong house when going to go pick up his little bros. Andrew, the old man, the 86-year-old man, got up out of bed with his .32, saw someone at the door trying to, open the door handle, playing with the door handle. He thought he was being robbed, or he thought that someone was trying to break into his house, so he let off 2 shots. Now, obviously, in a situation like this, I'm going to have questions, because I don't want to jump to conclusions without proper context, without all the facts, before I, write this off as a racial hate crime. Because the reality is the only 2 people that know what happened is Ralph Yarl and Andrew, the 86-year-old man. Those are the only 2 people that know exactly what happened. And, this has been very speedy. The guy's already been charged. The judicial process seems to be moving at a pretty fast pace. So we should be learning more about this in the days to come. Now, obviously, to all the people who are outraged about this, they want to see this man's head on a pike. They want to see him in jail for the maximum amount of years given, because they believe that this was a hate crime. But when I look at a guy this age, I'm wondering, can he see straight? Does he have cataracts? Does he have dementia? There's a lot of things that have yet to be presented that we need to know, that will be relevant in determining exactly, what was the meaning behind all of this. Now, I'm not trying to justify Andrew Lester's actions, but he's the person who's being charged, and I would like to know that he's being charged for the right thing. And before I say that Ray Yarl is 100% innocent and I back him 100%, I would like to know that there weren't more things that he did that could have contributed to, this old man feeling threatened. Again, it's not about picking sides. It's just about being rational and waiting until you have as much info as possible before you make and jump to conclusions. Now, with all that out the way, I got to speak about what bothers me surrounding this incident. Now, I don't want to dim this young man's light at all. It's a blessing that he made it. I'm glad he's alive, surrounded by his family. And, from what I know, from what has been reported about him, he was a young man who was doing the right things and not involved in a bunch of, foolery and nonsense. So kudos to that, and like I said, blessings to him. But the reality is, as we can see from this tweet right here, and let me read. Last night I had a chance to call Ralph Yarl and his family. No parent should have to worry that their kid will be shot after ringing the wrong doorbell. We've got to keep up the fight against gun violence, and Ralph, we'll see you in the Oval Office once you feel better. The reality of a situation like this is everyone gravitating to this situation who say they care the absolute most only care as much as they do because this narrative fits a white man shooting a black boy. That's the only reason why they care as much as they do. For Joe Biden and his administration, this is a perfect scenario for him to come in and virtue signal on 2 fronts. Example number 1, he gets to appeal to all of the black Democratic Party supporters and all of the black people in this country who are firm believers in the idea that white supremacy is the #1 thing that black people need to fear in this country. And number 2, he gets to enforce his gun control rhetoric. When those 6 people died, 3 kids and 3 teaching staff at the Christian school in Tennessee, where was he calling those parents? He didn't post any tweets about that. You got this girl here in New York who her friends pulled into the wrong driveway, and this man came outside and shot into the car, ended up killing her. She's gone now. She's dead. He's not reaching out to her family. Not enough publicity. He's not going to win enough cool points for it. Was just a mass shooting in Alabama done with 2 handguns at a Sweet 16 party. You got 20 people injured, 4 people dead. He's silent on that. Where is he calling those families? And I can say the same thing about race hustlers in the mainstream media. The 4 dead and the multiple people fighting off the injuries they sustained in the Alabama mass shooting. Where's their GoFundMe? Where's their protest? Where's that outrage? The girl that got shot in New York, where's those protests? Where's that outrage? You know, people was just running around in the streets of Chicago crazy. 2 people got shot. You know, they sustained injuries. They all right. But where's that outrage? Where's that protest? The only time you get massive outrage around the country, where you get a big movement behind something, is if it's a mass shooting or if it's a white man killing or shooting a black person. And I really do hate to compare tragedies, but you got to make the juxtaposition to make a point sometimes that, you know, when it comes to the way we report on things in the media, clearly we don't value all life the same. We only value how many clicks and how much attention we could get from the stories that we put out. You got black people killing black people every day, babies catching stray bullets, families being ripped apart, gang violence, crushing the community. Where's the outrage? Where's the protest? Where's the GoFundMes? It's never there. That stuff is never a nationwide story where everyone's, you know, pitching in and giving input and saying we need change. When it's black people killing black people, that's just normal. But whenever a white person kills a black person or shoots a black person, we got to all throw a fit and be outraged and go march and go protest and start a GoFundMe. Like I said earlier, you guys, I don't want to dim this kid's shine at all. But I definitely think that it's a shame that we jump to pushing a race narrative. Whenever a white person kills or shoots a black person, we jump to pushing a race narrative before we even have all of the facts. And time again, there have been several times where we don't exactly have the facts straight. And then you have people outraged and rioting and looting all around the country and throwing a fit over something that they were lied to about. I don't know if this is going to be one of those cases, but more is going to come out on this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on your way out the door. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments down below. And until next time, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace.